Welcome back to the channel. This game continues the British Championship in 1984. This is the round 4 game, and Nigel's opponent was an IM from Scotland, Colin McNab, who he had played a few times before. The game started as an English opening and quite a quiet variation. White strikes in the centre, and the bishops traded along the long white diagonal. All standard stuff. Here Nigel deviates from the book and plays a6. More normal is queen c7 to stop the e5 push. White decides against the e5 push. I think the e5 push is probably a better line after something like this. I think White's got a very nice position and Black's a bit cramped and needs to get developed. But when Nab just continues with his development, and again I think d6 may have been better to stop e5, which is still playable. And now finally d6 does stop it, reinforcing the pawn on e4, continuing development. The rook's heading for d2 to put pressure on the d6 pawn and down the d file. That's just to defend the c pawn. Not that black would have taken it, opening up the c line for the rook. Clearing the way for the pressure on the d file, which black defends. And this puts pressure on the other weak point, or one of the weak points for black, which is the b6 square and the pawn. Nigel gets out of any potential skewers on that square. Right now heads back to the centre, eyeing the c6 square. And White continues to slow build up, aiming for f4, e5, those sort of things. And I decides to counterplay on the queen side with his threatening b3. If the knight on d4 can be dislodged, so White defends the pawn. And here black strikes in the middle, which is a good move to try and open up the position and cause some complications. And I think White goes wrong straight away. It allows the tactic that Nigel must have had in mind when he played d5, which was knight takes e4. And as we will see, after the knight is accepted, the rook can take the c pawn, and there's now quite a lot of pressure on the white position. The c3 knight's obviously under attack. Knight takes e4 is in the offing. The queen's on a really nice long diagonal now, looking at the king. A curious way to defend the knight, maybe better, would have been to try and counter-attack in the middle with e5. And after knight g4, hitting the bishop, and the bishop moves. Obviously the knight can be taken, but then the queen can come out and attack the knight on g4, which hasn't got any squares to go to. And after h3, I think the knight's trapped. and White will get his White will get his piece back, and this position is fairly equal, and I think would have been much more playable than what McNab did. So knight to g4 hits the bishop, which obviously either has to be moved or defended. So when that defends it with the queen, which is an actually mistake because it allows knight takes e3, queen recaptures, and then d takes e4, and this opens up threats against the knight on d4 with the rook now, and obviously if the queen moves at any point, then obviously e3 check will be a massive check. White continues on the queen side, which seems to ignore all the stuff that's going on in the middle, and after he takes back with a knight, he finds himself in trouble after Black's next move, which is e5 to hit the knight. Obviously the knight can't move because the rook takes d2 followed by e3 check, which will be huge. So he continues with the queen side barrage, ignoring the centre. So Black grabs the knight, and here McNab sort of capitulates after all the trades. Black has a very nice tactic, which is bishop c5. And in this position, McNab actually resigned. He's going to lose the knight, and he's basically just going to be a piece down. He's already a pawn down anyway, so he'll lose a piece for the pawn. And e3 is going to be coming, and it's just all over. So Nigel had two quite quick wins in a row, and a nice victory again, without too much complications. This moved him to 3 out of 4 in the championship, and was going well. So please join me again, and please like and subscribe, and I'll be back for some more British Championship stuff in due course. Bye for now.